Now, last week in episode 439, I shared 5 fixable retention mistakes that often go unnoticed. Now, today in part 2, we're going to round out the list with the next 5 mistakes. If your adjustment visits are all about your systems, your flow, your speed, and not about them, then you're breaking trust without even realizing it. Now, this one comes right from my signature adjustment training, because here's the deal. When patients feel like they're on a conveyor belt or just another appointment in your day, they're going to disconnect. Now, even if your technique is excellent, if the visit doesn't feel personal and intentional, it creates emotional distance. Now, the fix is to make sure that every adjustment includes these 3 ingredients. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, folks. Welcome to another episode of the Marketing You Practice podcast, the podcast where I have the pleasure of simplifying the marketing and the mindset so you, the chiropractor, can grow your income, your impact, and your enjoyment in practice too. Now, last week in episode 439, we explored what I called the hidden leaks in your practice. Specifically, I shared 5 fixable retention mistakes that often go unnoticed. We talked about giving care recommendations that are often too small or only based in around symptoms, not educating patients consistently beyond the reported findings, failing to future patient outcomes, well, that's a tongue tie, that one there as well, skipping progress reviews, and finally, not using objective measures beyond just symptoms. These kind of oversights often don't show up as major errors, but they quietly pull down your attention, they reduce patient trust, and they limit the long-term impact that your practice has. Now, today in part 2, we're going to round out the list with the next 5 mistakes. Here's what we're going to cover. Why a lack of confidence in the benefits of care shows up in everything that you do. How to build out a simple but effective recall system. The importance of reconnecting long-term patients to why they started care in the first place. How to avoid the visit being all about you and instead of making it about them as well. And why sharing community wins and stories helps patients feel like they're part of something bigger. Now, if you've ever felt like patients just drift away, even when they're doing well, then this episode will help you plug those gaps. So let's dive in. Now, mistake number 6 is being not confident in the benefits of chiropractic. Now, if you're not 100% certain of the ongoing care, that ongoing chiropractic care is valuable, then your patients are going to feel it and it's going to hurt your retention. Now, let's be clear. If you're going to recommend care beyond symptom relief, then you need to be standing on rock-solid foundations. If you don't fully believe that ongoing care helps people function better, heal more deeply, and stay healthy, it'll leak through in everything that you do, not just in your words, but in your tone, in your posture, and how you show up with the team as well. Because communication is more than just what you say. It's also how you say it, how consistently you say it, and whether your actions actually match the message. And it goes deeper than patient communication. Your level of certainty shapes how your team communicates also. If you hesitate, then they end up hesitating. If you're unsure, then they'll be unsure. And that uncertainty trickles its way through every part of your practice. Now, let's make it clear. Ongoing chiropractic care is not a philosophical issue. It's best scientific practice because research clearly shows that life causes subluxation, that subluxations interfere with the nervous system, that nervous system interference reduces health and adaptability. And yes, all of this can happen without symptoms. Now, if you don't own this truth with clarity and with confidence, then it's time to get up to speed. There are incredible resources available, most of them for free. I love James Chestnut, Dr. Mo, Dr. Michael Hall, Dr. Heidi Havik, Dr. Dan Murphy, and there are plenty of others out there as well. You do not have to guess or hope anymore. You can build a foundation with science, with logic, and with certainty. And one more thing, are you under regular care? Do you get checked consistently? Is your name in the appointment book, or are you just jumping on a table when there's a spare moment? Because if you're recommending something that you're not doing yourself, there's an incongruency and this will show up in your attention, okay? So if you want patients to stick, it starts with you. It starts with your belief, your clarity, and your example. So start there. Now, mistake number 7 is not having an effective recall system. Life is busy, people get distracted, and if you don't have a recall system, good patients will disappear, not because they don't love you, but because they get busy. Let's be clear. Retention isn't just about what happens when the patient's in the room. It's what happens also when they're not there. You must have an effective recall system, and it starts with how you think about it. If you see recalls as bothering people, as chasing them, or as being a nuisance, then you and your team will not want to do them, okay? It'll show in your tone and your effort and your follow through. But when you see recalls as an act of kindness, then everything changes. Let me tell you a quick story here. Janet was a long-term patient of mine. She'd been coming in every 2 weeks for years, and then suddenly she just stopped. And I noticed, but I kept on wondering, maybe she'll be in next week or the week after, and I never followed it up. I never asked questions with the CAs. I assumed maybe she was traveling or maybe tied up with something with regards to work. Now, 3 months later, she walks back through the doors, and I was incredibly happy to see her. And then she said something that really rocked me. She said, "Angus, I really thought that someone would reach out and call me to see if I was okay. I thought this was a family practice, and I felt like I was part of the family." Now, that moment really changed everything for me. I realized that recalls aren't about being pushy. They're about showing that we care. They're about helping people follow through on the goals that we set together when we started care. So here's how we do it. If somebody misses an appointment, we reach out to them within 15 minutes, a quick check-in, hey, just make sure everything is okay. And then the goal really is to get them back in for an appointment that day or certainly within 24 hours. The CAs try twice, and if they don't get a response, the recall system is escalated to the chiropractors. Yes, you heard that right. There's power when the message comes from us as the doctor. And again, it's a quick personal call, it's a text message, it's an email. This can make all of the difference. And again, if there's no response, the patient is moved to an archive list. We're still not forgetting about them as well, okay? At least 4 times a year, we invite these people back into care with kindness, not pressure, okay? Because if chiropractic care is as valuable as we talked about in mistake number 6, then not reaching out isn't neutral, it's literally neglect. A great recall system doesn't just plug retention leaks, it shows people that you care through follow-up, and it builds trust. So plug those holes, protect your bucket, and make sure that no one slips through the cracks. Mistake number 8 is not reconnecting to why. People don't stay in care because of logic. They stay in care because of emotion. And if you're not reconnecting to why they started, then often what ends up happening is that they will drift away. This mistake is all about understanding human decision making. We make decisions emotionally and then we justify them logically. And so while a patient may say that they're coming in to stop migraines, avoid colic, or prevent asthma, the real reason is very often something much, much deeper. Maybe it's not the headaches themselves, but it's the fear of underperforming at work. Or maybe it's not the colic, but it's the guilt and overwhelm of feeling like you're not being a great parent. And maybe it's not just the pain, but it's the fear of decline. It's the fear of disconnection or missing out on life. That's the real why that somebody is coming in. And we need to find it, because when you connect your care with the emotional driver, the simple truth is people stay. And when you don't, they disappear as soon as the pain fades. So how do we uncover these emotional drivers? Well, here's a few simple questions that you can ask. Something like, what is this problem stopping you from doing right now? Or how is this affecting your confidence, your energy, or your day-to-day life? You could ask them, what would change in your life if this issue was completely resolved? Or why now? What made you decide to take action in this moment? These questions tend to open the door to the emotional truth behind why they're coming to see you. And once you've heard it, we want to repeat it back to them again and again and again. You want to tie your care to that outcome, and you want to reinforce the progress. You want to reflect it in their progress reviews, their daily visits, and in team communication. Because here's the truth. Patients forget. Life gets busy, stress kicks in, and if you don't remind them why they started, they'll start asking themselves why they're continuing to come back again and again. So reconnect to why over and over again. And remember, the emotional driver can also change over time. Once they start performing being at work, or the child is sleeping through the night, the original pain point or the original emotional driver can often feel less urgent. So we need to find out, what is the next thing? Your job is to keep uncovering the next level of motivation. What is possible for them? What goals do they have next? Why is staying healthy important now in this new phase? Keep asking, keep connecting, and keep expanding their vision of what's possible through beautiful chiropractic care. And that's how retention moves from short-term compliance to long-term commitment, because the emotional reason they started is the fuel that will keep them going. Now, mistake number 9 is making it all about you, the chiropractor, okay? If your adjustment visits are all about your systems, your flow, your speed, and not about them, then you're breaking trust without even realizing it. Now, this one comes right from my signature adjustment training, because here's the deal. When patients feel like they're on a conveyor belt or just another appointment in your day, they're going to disconnect. Now, even if your technique is excellent, if the visit doesn't feel personal and intentional, it creates emotional distance. Now, the fix is to make sure that every adjustment includes these 3 ingredients. And the first is presence, okay? Are you truly there with the person in front of you? Not in your head, not thinking about the patient before or the patient next, not rushing, not distracted, but are you connected? The second is affirmation. Are you affirming their progress, even subtly, on each and every visit? This isn't about flattery. It's about being a mirror. It's about saying things like, hey, you're looking brighter today. Your energy feels clearer. Those simple little things then matter. And the third ingredient here is clarity. Are you directing them towards what's next with certainty, whether it's the next visit, the next milestone, or the next phase of care? Don't leave it vague. Think of each adjustment as a 3-act experience, where in Act 1, what we want to be doing is setting the stage. This is sometimes referred to as the emotional handshake before any physical contact. Are you breathing? Are you grounded? Are you fully present? Even a 3-second pause, eye contact, and again, asking them something simple like, how have you been since I last saw you? This can make someone feel like the center of your world. Don't underestimate the power of rhythm and ritual here. It sets the tone, and setting the stage is what should be happening in Act 1. In Act 2, I call this setting the actual or delivering the shift. This is the actual adjustment itself. It's not just physical, it's energetic, and you need to be adjusting from right brain awareness with presence, with intuition, with care, okay? It should feel different, and patients will know when you're on. You'll know when you're on. Your front desk will know when you're on. This is your craft, and you need to show up for it. Your patients deserve you to show up for it as well. And Act 3 is all about completing the transformation. This is the closing frame, and it matters more than what most chiropractors realize, okay? It might be a moment of affirmation, you're clearing beautifully, or forward pacing cue, let's keep this momentum going on Thursday, or even just an intentional pause before they leave the table. This is the last emotional impression they take with them, and we need to make it count. Now, here's what we know from the peak end rule. People remember the emotional peak and the final moments of your adjustment. So if you rush the exit, if you let your energy dip, or you make it feel transactional, that's what they take home. So don't let your signature adjustment be all about you. The goal is to make sure that your patients feel seen and heard on every visit. This is a fundamental human need. And while it doesn't have to take a lot of time, it does have to have presence. It means the visit isn't about you, it's all about them. If I were to listen into your adjustment visit, how much of the conversation would be about their life, their progress, their goals, and how much of it would be about yours? It should be 80% at least as a minimum about them. Make it a transformational moment for them. And that's how you build trust, you deepen connection, and keep people coming back again and again. Even 90 seconds of presence can change everything. All right, mistake number 10 is no social proof or no community feeling. People don't just want care, they want connection. If your practice doesn't feel like a community, then people are not going to stay. Here's the truth. People, your patients, want to be a part of something bigger than themselves, especially today. They want to feel like they're not just a patient. They want to feel like they're part of a movement. And that's where community and social proof come in. Now, one of my favorite ways to educate and inspire is by just telling stories about other people just like them, what they struggle with and how things have changed and what's possible on the other side there as well. Now, I know here in Australia, there are restrictions that we have in around testimonials and advertising, but you can still share share stories inside your practice, and especially during your adjustments. You can say something simple like this. This reminds me of a patient that I worked with who had something similar. Or I was just talking with somebody else early this week who noticed the same shift that you're having. Or just tell somebody you're not alone. This is exactly what we expect, and your body is starting to unwind in the way it does with many of our practice members. These moments validate the patient experience, and they create a sense of shared journey. But community isn't just about stories. It's also about shared spaces and shared goals. Are you running in-house workshops? Are you hosting community talks? Do your patients see each other and connect in the waiting area as well? Do they see you out in the community? Are you talking about a bigger mission, why your practice exists just beyond pain relief? So here's a few other ways that you can build a sense of belonging in your practice. Use we language. Talk about your practice as a tribe or as a movement. You could say something like, this is what we're about here, or our community here is focused on thriving, not just surviving. Celebrate milestones, acknowledge visit milestones and breakthroughs in care. A simple congrats on 12 visits there note at the front desk can go an enormously long way. Feature patient wins in your content. Even if you can't use testimonials, you can still say things like, we're seeing a lot of patients noticing that they're sleeping better later. Chiropractic helps to regulate the nervous system, and this helps your body unwind at night. Host community events, open houses, anniversary parties, donation drives, workshops. This is spots that patients can bring their friends and again feel part of a community. Make your environment speak community. Make sure that it's warm, it's an intentional space, patients boards, local collaborations, all of this matters. So here's the bottom line. If the only place patients see you is on the table and the only message they hear is about their pain, then the connection ends when their pain ends. So to create a culture that extends beyond the adjustment, make them feel a part of something meaningful, because community doesn't just grow retention, it grows impact. All right, folks, that's part 2 of this retention series. Let's take a quick moment to recap on what we've covered, okay? Mistake number 6 was not being confident in the benefits. If you're not certain that chiropractic care creates value beyond symptoms, your patients and your team will sense it, okay? Mistake number 7 was not having an effective recall system. Life gets busy, and if you're not following up intentionally, then good people will slip through the cracks. Mistake number 8 was not reconnecting to why. Remember, emotional motivation is what drives commitment. If you're not consistently reconnecting patient with their goals, they'll lose the reason to stay. Mistake number 9 was making it all about you. The adjustment visit should be 80% about the patient. Presence is everything. Remember, we want our patients to feel seen and heard on every visit. And mistake number 10 was no social proof or no community feeling. People want to be a part of something bigger. Build a culture, share stories, make them feel like they belong there. Now, your action step for this week here is pick one of these 5 areas that resonated. Tighten it, tweak it, build a system in around it, because retention, remember, isn't luck, it's leadership. As always, folks, thanks for tuning in to part 2 of the Hidden Leak series. Now, if you haven't already listened to part number 1, then go back and check out episode 439. As always, thanks for all that you do. Keep saving lives, and I'll see you back here next week. Bye. If you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come and check out my Community Influencer program. It's my monthly coaching program where we take all this material and I'll work with you to help you apply it, implement it, and systemize it. The Community Influencer Group Coaching Program is designed to help you increase your practice income, impact, and enjoyment. Join me over at anguspyke.com/join. That's anguspyke.com/join. I'd love to see you there.